What if I told you, not every tractor was designed to simply pull a plow? Some machines were born from wild experiments, ideas so strange that even engineers wondered, should we really build this? Tractors that roll like armored beasts, machines with no wheels at all, engines that sound like they're about to rip through the earth, and designs so bizarre you'll swear they came from another planet. They weren't built to be practical. They were built to push limits, to break rules, and to prove that innovation sometimes looks insane. Get ready, because you're about to see 10 of the strangest tractors ever created. Machines that defied logic, ignored tradition, and somehow actually existed. And trust me, by the time you reach number 1, you won't believe engineers made this on purpose. Ranked 10th, Lanz All-Dog, Germany. Imagine a tractor that doesn't even look like a tractor. In the years after World War II, Europe didn't need more machines. It needed one machine that could do everything, and Germany answered with something truly unconventional: the Lanz All-Dog. At first glance, it feels wrong. The engine sits all the way at the back, the driver perched behind it like someone riding a strange mechanical animal. In the front, not a hood, not wheels first, just an open platform ready to carry tools, cargo, even entire farming rigs. This wasn't a tractor. It was a modular work beast, a Swiss Army knife on wheels. A tubular backbone frame held everything together. With the working tools directly in front of the driver, farmers could see every movement, every blade, every furrow in the soil. Perfect for tight European fields and delicate crops. It only had around 12 to 16 horsepower, but don't let the numbers fool you. This little creature could handle over 50 attachments and even haul hundreds of kilos on its nose. And the sound, that legendary one-cylinder Lanz Bulldog thump. A smoky, shaking, rhythmic growl that farmers across Germany never forgot. Of course, innovation has a price. It shook, it rattled, it roared louder than anyone wanted, and it cost more than traditional machines. When John Deere later bought Lanz, the All-Dog survived only briefly. A brilliant idea, too strange and too early for its time. Today it stands as a reminder that progress sometimes looks weird, and the future often starts with one wild experiment. The All-Dog didn't just pull tools, it tried to replace an entire shed. Not perfect, but absolutely unforgettable. Ranked 9th, Hürlimann H6.160, Switzerland. Switzerland is famous for precision, watches, engineering, perfection in tiny gears, and flawless timing. Now imagine all of that, poured into a tractor that looks like it came from the future of the 1970s. This is the Hürlimann H6.160, a machine so unusual, it still turns heads decades later. The first thing you notice? Nothing is where you expect it. The cab sits off-center. The hood tapers in a way that feels almost sci-fi. Sharp edges, asymmetric lines, pale mint paint. It looks less like farm equipment and more like a prototype escape vehicle for the Swiss Alps. But beneath that futuristic skin, serious muscle. A 6.8-liter turbo diesel with roughly 160 horsepower and huge torque at low RPM. Engineered not for speed, but for unstoppable mountain climbing force. Air-cooled, not liquid-cooled. A bold decision in a freezing climate where simplicity meant reliability. No radiators to freeze, no coolant to boil, just raw, air-driven efficiency. A 12-speed synchronized transmission and full-time four-wheel drive gave it grip on slopes where other tractors simply gave up. It didn't just work on hills, it owned them. Inside, the cab was panoramic, built for visibility, ergonomics, endurance. A rare luxury in tractors of that era. Yet as advanced as it was, the world wasn't ready. Production remained small, almost secretive, and that only made it more legendary. Today, collectors call it the Swiss power icon. Not because it was the fastest or the loudest, but because it dared to be elegant, intelligent, and different in a world of boxy farm machines. The Hürlimann H6.160 wasn't just engineered, it was crafted. a tractor that combined brute strength with the precision of a luxury timepiece. A reminder that sometimes the most powerful machines are also the most beautiful. Ranked 8th, Latil H14 TL10, France. France has never been afraid of bold engineering, and in the years after World War II, while the world was rebuilding, France built something that looked less like a tractor and more like a mechanical mountain goat. This is the Latil H14 TL10, one of the most unusual tractors Europe had ever seen. At first glance, you notice the stance. Tall, squared, purposeful, not elegant, not gentle. A machine that looks like it belongs in a logging camp deep in the Alps, dragging trees and marching through mud like a steel giant. But its secret wasn't brute force. It was maneuverability no one expected. Four-wheel drive, four-wheel steering. In the late 1940s, a tractor that could twist, snake, and pivot through forests like an off-road ballet dancer. While weighing more than 3 tons, turn radius? Around 4.6 meters, something compact tractors dream of even today. Under the hood, a big diesel engine thumped with dependable torque, paired with reduction gears, selectable traction, and differential locks. It didn't just drive over rough ground. It conquered terrain that would stop ordinary machines dead. There was even a version called navette, with 2 driving positions, one facing forward, one backward. Why? For loggers who spent all day going forward, then backward, then forward again. No turning around, just flip seats and keep working. Practical? Yes. Normal? Absolutely not. The French army noticed too. Soon, winch-equipped versions were hauling equipment, rescuing vehicles, and proving that this strange-looking tractor was really a rugged, unstoppable field machine. Today, the Latil H14 TL10 is more than a tractor. It's a symbol of fearless innovation, a reminder that sometimes the smartest machines look a little odd at first. Built for mud, built for mountains, built for people who needed a tool that could go anywhere and never ever quit. A French legend forged in forests and steel. Ranked 7th, Roadless 95T, United Kingdom. Britain knows mud, thick, heavy, stubborn countryside mud, the kind that laughs at ordinary tractors and swallows tires whole. And in the 1960s, one company decided that if the land wouldn't cooperate, they'd simply build a machine that could bully the earth back into submission. Meet the Roadless 95T, better known as the Ford Plowmaster 95. At first glance, it looks familiar. Ford blue paint, classic lines, but look again. Everything is heavier, longer, bolder, because this wasn't born in a factory. It was reforged by Roadless Traction, a company famous for taking 2-wheel drive Fords and turning them into 4-wheel drive brutes. Under the hood, a 6.2-liter, 6-cylinder diesel, a big, slow-turning lump of iron built to grunt through the toughest clay fields in Britain. Power? Around 95 horsepower. But this wasn't about numbers. It was about torque that felt endless, the kind that doesn't ask the soil for permission. It just tears through it. A heavy-duty transfer case, permanent 4-wheel drive, a front axle borrowed from military 6x6 trucks. Not subtle, not refined, just pure mechanical willpower. It didn't glide, it clawed. It didn't accelerate. It dragged the world toward it. Comfort, hard seats, loud engine, constant vibration. This tractor didn't care if you liked it. It was there to do a job, and it did it so well that even today, farmers whisper about it like a legend. Only around 200 units were ever produced, making it not only powerful, but rare, intensely rare. Collectors hunt for them. Auction prices climb. Not because it's pretty, but because it represents a time when machines were built by hands, courage, and steel, not computers and committee meetings. The Roadless 95T is proof of one simple rule. When the ground fights back, bring a tractor that refuses to lose. A British beast born for battle in the mud. Ranked 6th, Pavesi P4, Italy. Long before off-road became a buzzword, Italy quietly built a machine that looked like it rolled straight out of a science fiction sketchbook. The year, 1918. Cars were still new. Tanks had barely entered history. And yet, Pavesi created a tractor that could do something no one else dared. Bend in the middle. This wasn't a rigid frame. The P4 split into two articulated halves, able to pivot up, down, and sideways. 4 equal-sized wheels. 4-wheel drive, 4-wheel steering. It didn't just turn, it wrapped around terrain like a mechanical animal. Steep slope, it climbed. Deep mud, it crawled through. Sand, snow, ruts, rock. This thing kept moving when others dug their own graves. Under the hood sat a Fiat engine, approximately 40 to 57 horsepower. Small by today's numbers, but paired with reduction gears and brute mechanical grip. It felt unstoppable. Too advanced, too expensive, too strange for most farmers. So where did it thrive? The military, Italy, Hungary, Spain, Bulgaria. Armies put it to work hauling artillery through places trucks simply couldn't go. Imagine 1,918 soldiers watching this bending, crawling, high-traction beast. It must have looked like a machine from another century. And in many ways, it was. The Pavesi P4 wasn't just a tractor. It was a blueprint for the future, decades ahead of articulated tractors and off-road machines we think are modern today. A century later, the world finally caught up to Pavesi's vision. Some innovations are born too early. This one just kept moving anyway. Ranked 5th. Gray drum drive, United States. America has always loved bold ideas. Bigger engines, louder machines, crazier experiments. And in the early 1900s, one company asked a question no one else dared. What if a tractor didn't need wheels at all? The result was the gray drum drive, a machine that looked less like a farm tractor and more like a war machine on a farm mission. At the back, no wheels, just a massive steel drum, wide enough to flatten anything in its path. It didn't roll over mud. It steamrolled through it. Behind the wheel, you didn't drive this thing. You commanded it, sitting sideways, glancing over your shoulder, like you were piloting some prototype tank from a secret war lab. Why a drum? Because early tractors were constantly sinking. Soft soil, swampy fields, prairie mud. The gray didn't float above the earth. It pressed the earth into submission. Up front, 2 steel wheels handled steering. Chain drive sent power to the giant drum. The engine, a chunky 4-cylinder gasoline block, thumped and rattled like industrial thunder. It was heavy. It was awkward. And it absolutely refused to get stuck. Farmers plowed fields, dragged harrows, and pulled massive loads in conditions where normal tractors simply drowned. Sure, turning it felt like wrestling a battleship. And comfort? Forget it. This mower tank hybrid didn't care about comfort. It cared about movement, power, and brute stubborn progress. But history caught up. Soft steel roads became highways, fields got drier, tractors got better tires, the world moved past the drum. Yet the gray drum drive remains a legend, a reminder of a time when engineers treated farming like a battlefield. And the solution to mud was not to avoid it, but to crush it. Ranked 4th. Armstead snow motor, United States. Snow doesn't care about engines. Snow doesn't fear horsepower. In deep winter terrain, wheels mean nothing. They just spin, sink, and surrender. But in the 1920s, a group of American engineers decided winter wouldn't win. So they took a Fordson tractor and replaced its wheels with 2 enormous rotating screw drums. No tracks, no tires, just giant metal augers chewing through snow like a hungry machine beast. The Armstead snow motor wasn't driven. It swam through snow, twisting, grinding, and propelling itself forward with brute torque. Watching it move felt surreal, like someone crossed a tractor with a submarine drill and pointed it toward the Yukon. It didn't glide gracefully. It thundered. It carved its own road. Deep powder? It floated. Snowdrifts? It burrowed. Frozen wilderness? It owned it. This machine wasn't built for flat farms. It was built for lumber camps, Arctic supply runs, and brutal frontier winters. There were even dreams of military snow fleets rolling across the tundra where horses and trucks froze in defeat. And yet, the world wasn't quite ready. Tracks got cheaper, snowmobiles arrived, roads improved. The snow motor faded into legend, a brilliant, bizarre solution to a problem only pioneers truly understood. But every winter, when deep snow returns and roads disappear, engineers look back at this wild, screw-driven creature and whisper, maybe they were onto something. Because sometimes invention isn't about elegance. It's about refusing to let nature say no. Ranked third, MAZ 529, Soviet Union. The Soviet Union never built machines to look pretty. They built machines to bend the world to their will. And nothing proves that more than this mechanical oddity, a tractor that barely qualifies as a tractor at all, the MAZ 529. No front axle, no front wheels. Just one massive axle at the rear, an engine bolted on top of it, and a driver's cab perched like a metal helmet on a giant steel spine. It looked less like farm equipment and more like half a tank that escaped from a military workshop. Because truth is, it did. Originally designed as a power unit for heavy scrapers, the Red Army quickly realized its potential. A machine like this wasn't built for plowing wheat. It was built to drag the motherland forward. And it did. A roaring diesel engine, the same heart found in Soviet trucks, delivered around 120 horsepower, but more importantly, unrelenting torque. This monster could tow 25 tons across mud, ice, swamps, construction sites, even missile convoys across frozen wilderness. No suspension, just solid metal and oversized tires so tall they looked like they could roll over bunkers. Steering? Not by turning wheels, but by pivoting the entire body, bending like a steel animal around its load. Driving it wasn't operating a tractor. It was wrestling industrial power itself. It shook. It roared. It punished the driver. But it never backed down. The West built tractors for farms. The Soviets built machines for war, empire, and raw survival. The MAZ 529 wasn't graceful. It wasn't comfortable. It wasn't even logical. But it worked. Relentlessly, brutally, unapologetically. A one-axle monster that proved something simple. In Soviet engineering, function isn't just first. It's the only thing that matters. Ranked second, Fendt Trisix, Germany. Fendt has always been the quiet genius of European tractors. Precision engineering, clean lines, restrained design. But one day the engineers in Bavaria asked a dangerous question. What if a tractor didn't stop at four wheels? And then they built the answer. The Fendt Trisix. Not two axles, not four wheels, but three axles, six drive wheels, a road-legal agricultural dragon. When it first rolled out in 2007, it didn't look like a farm machine. It looked like the prototype hauler for a Mars colony. Sleek nose, high cabin, armored stance, and a presence so commanding it could intimidate dump trucks. Under that futuristic hood, a heart forged for war and harvest alike, a powerhouse diesel punching out over 500 horsepower, an advanced drivetrain distributing power to all six wheels, suspension and steering systems designed to float across fields while still tearing down highways at up to 60 kilometers per hour, six massive tires meant less ground pressure, a gentle footprint for the soil, but the grip of a battlefield vehicle. Inside, the cabin wasn't a tractor cockpit. It was a command center. Luxury seating, panoramic glass, electronics, diagnostics, digital systems years ahead of their time. It could haul, plow, transport, sprint, and tow with a calm confidence that felt almost smug. So why didn't it go into mass production? Because sometimes a machine is too advanced, too ambitious, too far ahead of what the market is ready to understand. The Trisix wasn't a tractor. It was a statement. We can build the future whenever we decide the world is ready. And then Fendt quietly put it away, like a king returning a sword to its scabbard. Today, the Trisix remains a myth, a glimpse into a future where farms and highways blend, where agriculture and military engineering shake hands, and where machines don't just work, they dominate. In first place, Porsche P312 Coffee Train, Germany. When you hear the name Porsche, you think racetracks, precision speed, sleek bodies cutting the air at 200 kilometers per hour, not rows of coffee trees in rural Brazil. Yet in the late 1950s, Porsche built something the world still struggles to believe: a tractor for coffee plantations. The Porsche P312 Coffee Train. Imagine a sports car soul wrapped in bright red metal, not built to chase trophies, but to glide gently between delicate plants in tropical fields half a world away. Where tractors were usually boxy, rough, and loud, this thing looked streamlined, almost elegant. A bullet-shaped hood, smooth curves, no sharp edges to snag branches or damage fruit. Its wheels sat narrow and tall, perfectly matched to the spacing of Brazilian coffee rows. It didn't roar, it purred, powered by a small air-cooled engine designed with Porsche discipline. Simple, reliable, efficient, even capable of running on methanol, because fuel availability in Brazil wasn't guaranteed. This wasn't about brute force, it was about finesse, control. Grace in agriculture, a tractor built with the logic of a watchmaker in the style of a sports car studio. Farmers called it the coffee train because it slipped through plantations like a tiny locomotive, towing tools and carts, tending fields with surgical precision. But few were made. Some say 200 to 300 units at most, many disappearing into time, rust, and jungle humidity. Those that survived, they are holy relics now, worth more than some classic sports cars. Because the P312 isn't just rare, it's unthinkable. A Porsche not conquering asphalt, but cultivating the earth. Proof that even one of the world's greatest performance brands once turned its engineering genius towards something humble, and still couldn't resist making it beautiful. The coffee train is the ultimate reminder. Innovation doesn't always come from louder engines, higher speeds, or trophy circuits. Sometimes greatness hides between quiet fields, under warm sun, among the coffee trees. And sometimes, the fastest ideas in the world slow down to grow. So there you have it. 10 machines that refused to follow the rules. Some were brilliant, some were bizarre, and some were straight-up madness wrapped in steel and diesel. But each one proves something important. Innovation isn't always clean. It isn't always logical. And it rarely fits inside the lines we draw for it. Sometimes the wildest ideas, the ones people call impossible, impractical, or insane, are the ones that push the world forward. Which of these tractors shocked you the most? Tell me your favorite down below. I read every comment, and if you love machines that make you question reality, make sure you're here for the next journey, because this is only the beginning. Until then, keep your gears turning, keep your curiosity alive, and remember, the future belongs to those who dare to build it.